Hey everyone, so finally it's bottling day. It's one of the days of making your beer homebrew. And before we start bottling day, I wanted to talk through all the equipment and gear you need in your homebrew bottling day. So I have a lot of stuff on this table, but this is everything I'll need for a successful bottling day. And I'll just start picking up pieces and tell you what they are. So basically, one of the things you'll need for bottling your beer is empty bottles. You notice I have 2 cases of 22-ounce bottles, so that's 12 bottles per case. And then I have a few extra bottles also. Because I have a 5-gallon batch, it's probably going to go a little over, so I'm going to have a bunch of extra bottles just in case that happens, because I need a place to put the beer. Aside from the bottles, you need something like this. This is called a fast rack. It's basically a nice, easy washing system that you can use as you're washing or sanitizing your beer bottles. You just put it somewhere. It has a catch tray, and then there's a 2 of these rows. So basically, you put a full case of bottles, whether it's 12 ounce or 22, and then you stack another case right on top of it. And Hudson is just doing some quality control, making sure that this equipment's up to spec, which it is. So yeah. So speaking of washing and sanitizing, you need some type of sanitizer, like Star San. A little of this goes a long way. This gets diluted in a lot of water. You need a bottling bucket. So basically it's just kind of like a standard 6.5 gallon fermentation bucket, but it happens to be drilled and have a nice little spigot here, which we'll be using later. With that bucket you'll need a few lengths of hose. So I have a short length of hose. This one's actually probably maybe 2 feet, 3 feet, pretty short. And this is just going to go from the spigot down to your bottles of beer. You have another length of hose, which is actually quite long. I think this one is 4 feet maybe almost 6 feet. This has to be longer because this is going to go from the fermentation bucket up and out with your siphon down to the bottling bucket when you're transferring the beer. So speaking of that, you need a siphon. That's this. This will go in here after, and we'll be attaching this to that long hose. And basically this is going to go carefully into your beer, and we're just going to use it to siphon the beer out into the bottling bucket, avoiding oxidation and splashing, and also avoiding getting some of the tread off the bottom. There's a technique to it, but we'll be going through that soon. It's going to be fun. This is pretty good. It's a bottling wand. This gets attached to the short length of hose, and as we're draining the beer out of the bottling bucket right into your bottles, this will be going into each bottle, and it has a nice little stopper, so as you're transferring from one bottle to another, it kind of avoids spilling. That's really good. Some other things you'll need. Speaking of sanitizing again, we're going to be using this little device here. Basically, a little bit of Star San solution is going to go in here, and this wand, you just press each bottle onto it, and it allows you to sanitize your bottles. And we'll be using that later too. Some other things. So we need caps. Caps are kind of generic, but I did have an issue with bad caps once, and I know that these caps are not bad caps. These just say LD Carlson Company, gold oxygen barrier crown caps. Basically, they're pretty good. Sanitizing the caps. You'll see what we do when we sanitize. You can use anything, but I throw all the caps I'm going to use in kind of a non-watertight holder of some kind like this, and then it's easier to pick all those caps out, shake them out, drain them before you put them in a bowl. So this is just optional, but I use this because I happen to have it handy. You need a nice little measuring cup. This is just a 1-cup measuring cup. We'll be using that later. Some kind of measuring flask. I have one of these because I'm going to take a gravity reading and use my hydrometer. Well, the hydrometer, we'll use this more later. You basically drop it in your beer and it tells you how much sugar is left in there. And we're going to want to see what our gravity reading is so we can tell how much alcohol is in our beer, because that's pretty important. Alright, we have a capper. This thing's pretty cool. I think it's called a Super Agata capper. It's adjustable, but it's basically used for any size bottle. And you're basically just capping the bottles yourself. We're going to go through that later. It's going to be a lot of fun. some other stuff we have. This is optional. I just picked this up. The reason I have this little cheapy scale is because I want to measure out my own dextrose, which is my priming sugar. Only because I didn't go out to the homebrew shop because they're kind of far, and I needed just 5 ounces of sugar, and I didn't feel like going out there all the way to get it. So what I did is I went to someplace a lot closer, and I got this massive 10-pound tub of pure dextrose, non-GMO dextrose powder, which is crazy because I only need 5 ounces, but this will last me forever. So from now on, whenever I'm brewing beer at home, I have my own dextrose and my own scale, one less thing to buy. Another thing you'll need is a nice glass, preferably saucepan or pot, because what we're going to be doing is boiling some water and then dissolving our priming sugar in that, and we'll be going through that later. I have an optional thing again. This is to pop the lid off of our fermentation bucket. We'll be using this later. A spray bottle to put your Star San solution in, because some of the stuff you're sanitizing can't fit in the bucket that we're going to be using. So I just spray the crap out of the sides and then let it all drip back into the bucket. That's very useful, so I highly advise one of those too. And that is everything. Oh, there is one more thing you need. Let me go get that. You need a puppy. Highly advised for any bottling or brew day or any other beer-related session at home. You should have a puppy because your beer will come out better. Guaranteed.
There's no issue of sanitation?
No. He's like hops. He's kind of like a, self-sanitizing. No, but I do keep him out of the kitchen. So yeah, he's good for like in the planning phase and providing some directing the project, but we'll keep him out of the room.
Hudson.
We're actually doing stuff.
Hi, Hudson. Say hi to everyone.
Hudson,
Yay.
sit. He's like, all right, okay. Good boy. Go get toy. Cool. He'll be back. He always comes back. But that's it. So we are going to get ready and have us a bottling day, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But now I'm going to put this gear into the other room where we're actually going to be using it. And there'll be more little tips
Okay.
to follow.
Yay, Hudson. Yay. Ooh.